The Nerdgasm Talk podcast is brought to you by Spaces Philly. If you love podcasts, go to spacesphilly.com where you can check out Lulu and Pop, Both Sides, Turntables, Jump Thought Super Tongue, and the Nerd Coalition's very own No Gimmicks Needed. Visit spacesphilly.com today. And now, feel the Nerdgasm.
Sure.
Let's get the Nintendo drama out the way. Because this end of the year, Nintendo been pissing people off.
Shit, they piss people off since, I would say, the midsummer.
I mean, I've never been the hugest fan of Nintendo. I like their products, I like their properties, but I've never been the one to sell my soul to them.
I agree. My name is not Quattro.
Yeah, I was about to mention Quattro, but you you beat me to it. But yeah, I've never been one of them. And because underneath, they're a pretty crappy company. They're very crappy with the choices they make. I'm not sure if you remember the whole Evo thing where they had Melee and Evo, and like I think it was like right after it was announced, Nintendo was like no, and it like forced them to take it out. Had a lot of people that was excited for Evo and all that, and then a couple weeks later, it's like we've been a big fan of Evo, and we're excited to see that this company and this community is going together. And they want to celebrate our game. I was like, really, guys? I'm only saying that because of the backlash.
Yeah.
But this backlash is definitely a lot more crazier than expected. Now, before we get to the main reason why we're going to be talking about today, there's a couple background information. There's a backstory to this. Now, Nintendo has swooped in, attempted to assassinate the Melee community that's been growing and thriving. And they've been having a lot of tournaments, and they've been using this Simply emulator. Simply, I believe it's called. It's an emulator that allows Melee players to play seamlessly across all platforms online. If you know any Smash online, Nintendo online, that's probably the worst gaming experience, period.
Yes, first party. Because I want people to understand that just because you play games on Nintendo, don't mean the online is bad. I'm talking about the first party Nintendo games.
Yeah, I know you have great experience with Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, Battle for the Grid. All of them.
I had great time with Battle for the Grid. Battle for the Grid been seamless for me from what I've seen. But any Smash game, any like Mario Kart game, any first party Nintendo game is just a drag to play online. And it's because they just really don't understand online. It kind of sucks because a lot of the community is based online, but, a lot of the community is based all over the world, so you want to think that connecting together would be the key. But unfortunately, they do not understand. And these online tournaments had tens and thousands of dollars prize pools created by the Melee community and sponsored by them as well. But on November 20th, Nintendo appeared to be issuing a cease and desist order on all major online tournaments and organizers. They forced them to shut down all the tournaments. If they had any promotions on their YouTube page, they had them removed. This is almost going as far. They thinking about banning Melee on Twitch.
Wow.
And that's like insane. Now, it is understandable because Simply is an illegal product to be using on the game, to modifying it. Nintendo has every right to do that. However, you're attacking the community that's, giving you free promotion. They're not asking you guys for money. They're literally putting money out of their pockets just to enjoy your products, which is completely insane. Absolutely insane. In fact, someone had a video where they was trying to talk about the situation, and Nintendo blocked that. Nintendo strike that video. Y'all aren't nice. First of all, having a gaming channel, we're very scared of Nintendo.
Yeah,
we're very scared of Nintendo.
We don't put up no Nintendo first party nothing.
If it's Smash Bros, that's the safest bet. The safest. Other than that, nothing. Because we don't want that war at all.
Yeah, war.
On top of canceling the whole Melee scene, everyone did this hashtag free Melee because, it means a lot to a lot of people. The people careers are like Hungrybox,
yes,
Leffen, they made careers out of Melee. You know, so it's like Nintendo provided them with this, and then seeing a company that you loved and trust going against your back and doing this, it's completely crazy. They had a Splatoon tournament not too long ago, and a lot of Splatoon players were using hashtag Free Melee. What did Nintendo do? Cancel the whole tournament because they were using that hashtag. Cancel the whole tournament because they were using that hashtag. Excuse me. So that brings us to where we have today. There was a demand on Joy-Cons featuring, excuse me, inspired by Etika. If you don't know Etika, he was a content creator who revolved a lot around Nintendo and a lot of gaming. And he unfortunately passed away due to suicide. Was it last year?
June of last year.
Yeah, June 2019. This year has been long.
Yes, it is.
So, first of all, rest in peace to him. And it's really sad. So, someone bought all these Joy-Cons, painted them, inspired of Etika, and decided to sell them. And he wasn't going to make any money for this because every single profit, 100% of the money, we're going to go to charities, specifically NAMI, which is the largest organization for mental illness, the mental illness charities. And that was specifically chosen to spread awareness of mental health issues that Etika suffered before he passed. And Nintendo got wind of this, and they cut it out. They completely shut it down, saying that certain products they have copyright laws for, and they don't need to like you can't be altering their products. So they contact the user, they completely shut him down, and now he can't sell his Etika Joy-Cons, which is sad because I actually wanted a pair. I don't play my Switch much, but I wanted a pair just to support him and to support the mental illness charity.
Bro, you already know that as soon as it was live, I was copping a pair. I got a pair of Evo Joy-Cons, so as much as I play my Switch, absolutely.
Right. Now, I'm glad you brought the Evo Joy-Cons up because that brings me to where do they draw the line? Or is Q-Flow there to say, stop moving the goalposts? Because there are plenty of companies out in the world that are taking Joy-Cons, altering it as their own, and just selling it to make profit for them instead of making profit to share this in charity or using this for a good cause.
Now, do you want the reason or do you want the hardcore reason?
I mean, I know the reason. It's Nintendo, but you could go on because I'm sure there's people listening that don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you because I was looking into this too, and I do believe that the reason for this is because it was this black kid who committed suicide.
Yeah.
And they do not want to draw attention to that.
Yeah, Nintendo's a family company.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you're dealing with mental health, is very scarce among Americans, period. But it's very, very scarce in the African American community.
Right.
And if anybody paid attention to like the downfall of Desmond Etiquette all last year, from like the end of 2018 going to 2019, like it was it's like you see it unraveling on screen, and then it was literally like a movie where you know what the ending was going to be, unfortunately, and that's what happened. And if you followed it, I'm saying everybody didn't follow because I didn't follow it until after he died. I went back to it, right. And then with him, obviously making his suicide note on camera, that was a lot deep for a lot of people, and a lot of people, saying it's like, man, look, this guy was in pain, this guy was hurting, and we did not find a way to help him when he needed help,
right?
So we tried, we couldn't, and this is probably their way of fellows to help give back. And because you got to draw that awareness. Where Nintendo was a family company, feels as though that, hey, I'm not going to try to make it seem like suicide is an okay thing. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but if they make it seem like that, which is unfair, because mental illness is something that you need to bring awareness to, and you have one of your. This ain't no, and I hate to say this. This is not one of us. Etika was not a small YouTube creator. He was big enough that it drew a lot of attention. His death was on the news.
Mm-hmm.
It was big enough, and me personally, it would be a thing where I would want to use my platform to help out families.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Nintendo's be about. But this is what the problem with Nintendo is. Nintendo, I'm saying this right now on this podcast, Nintendo is Vince McMahon. Now, for you who don't watch wrestling, let me explain. Vince McMahon is an old school guy. And Vince McMahon is a very petty guy. And what Vince McMahon does in wrestling is if he doesn't create it, it gets destroyed.
Yep.
If it's not his idea, it gets destroyed. Or he has to put his personal stamp on things for it to have the McMahon effect, basically.
Right.
And it ruins the character. Such as Ricochet, where Ricochet in NXT was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes to the main roster, he has a little pew 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 thing that comes on when his music plays. I'm like, nobody needed that, but that's a Vince McMahon thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just to say that he did something that he can create this. Nintendo is one of those companies from the actions that I've seen that people are finding ways to help promote Nintendo and make Nintendo even better, but they didn't think of it.
Right.
So if they didn't think of it, they get in their feelings and they shut the shit down. Now, honestly, this could have been a thing where it's like, man, they know them etiquette Joy-Cons was a good idea. They know. Do you know how much money they could have made for these charities? Hell, you know how much money you could have made for his family?
Right.
Do you know how much money you could have made by selling these tribute etiquette Joy-Cons and help raise awareness for, mental health and help them? Because obviously we're all in a pandemic and we're all worried about COVID right now. I'm like, but hey, but one of the leading things in death right now has been during this pandemic, suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this whole pandemic, and there's nobody that's bringing awareness to it at all. And you know what? It breaks my heart that, first of all, the situation happened in the first place.
Right.
But it breaks my heart, like, I never sleep easy with suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced a lot of death and stuff in my life, whether it's been people getting shot, people getting sick, people in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it's something about the way to go out by suicide is so heartbreaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And to the point where I want to do anything I can to help, even to the point where I just wish I could rewind time and just catch them before they made that wrong decision.
Right.
And the way I look at it, I salute the guy who was trying to, do this in memory of him, because it's heartbreaking to hear him say in his suicide video that everybody going to forget about him. And I don't want that. And that's how people think when they about to make that dark move.
Right.
And I don't want
what
that.
I've seen, nobody has.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody that's
has. And it hurts.
It hurts, and that's what happens when you get to that dark place.
Right.
And Nintendo pisses me off because, like I said, I was never a supporter of Nintendo when it comes to the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
Now, once again, I have bought Game Boys and stuff like that because they were the kings of the handheld.
Right.
And we already know how I feel about my handheld games. But once again, the only Nintendo system I truly had was N64.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else other than the handheld stuff, I never supported Nintendo with anything. And then guess what? When the PS5 came out, I didn't even touch a DS.
Right.
Okay, I didn't even I had my PS5, my PSP. Jesus, I was ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I was like that. I think you said it the first time. I was like, I'm not sure if I caught it or not.
Yeah, I had my PSP. I didn't touch the DS. Now, I didn't touch the DS until I got it by accident by winning it in a contest, was the DSi.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, it's cool. But I went back to my PS. I only had one game for it. Went back to my PSP, went to my PS Vita. Then the Switch came out and shut the whole game down. But I'm only telling y'all this to show you that my support for Nintendo has never been that high because of how they are in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you tell me this news is not it's nothing new, but it's heartbreaking, and it only reminds me of if anybody's a wrestling fan out there, Vince McMahon, for somebody who didn't think of the idea first or can't have their way, they want to do it, but then when they get backlash from it, then they want to try to make amends and make things right. Because obviously, when it comes to tournament stuff like that, they're going to find a way to put mail or something back in the tournament. They just want to find it their way.
Right.
They may come out with some special Joy-Cons. They'd be like, well, these new gold and black Joy-Cons are representative of the Mental Health Society. It got nothing to do with etiquette, but it got something to do because they did it.
Right.
Kind of way. And unfortunately, I can see that happening. And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Especially for all the hard work that this one guy did. He did this with the pure of his heart. Like, completely pure hearted, selfless, and he did it so other people could have a tribute to him.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I was late on the etiquette train. Like, I knew of him, but I didn't know it was him until the name popped up.
But we didn't find out about him dying until we was leaving the movie theater. What movie was we seeing? Whatever came out in June 2019. I think it was Shazam.
I don't remember exactly.
I don't know what movie, but we got out. I was like, "What happened?" Because same as you, I watched the etiquette stuff for reactions.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew he was a Nintendo Joy-Con boys. I knew he was all into that and stuff like that. So like I said, I was a little late on the etiquette train, but anybody that commits this act, and of course I relate to him because he's black, just like I am.
Right.
And like I said, and to have mental health stuff is very, 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 a scary thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off, but it makes me sad in the first place. I mean, to the point where it's like you feel guilty sometimes even playing your Switch.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just truly feel guilty, and I'll be trying to be like, look, I actually try to create the machine that it is, but I don't try to go and give Nintendo no kind of propaganda and stuff like that because of what I'm saying of how shady and stuff that they sure they can be. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Sony is in the high regard or Microsoft is in the high regard too. I'm not saying that necessarily sure, but sometimes Sony's actions speak louder than Nintendo's do.
Yeah.
And that's just the way. Even when they killed George Floyd earlier this year, and then obviously the Black Lives Matter was trending to the point where Sony actually put out a thing and said, "Look, we're going to give time for those voices that have never been heard to be heard now."
Right.
Just something small like that. Whether it was pandering or not, I'm not sure. Okay, but what I'm saying is,
and you saw companies like Square Enix, they were going out of their way, like sending money. And I know people were like, well, they don't have to say. They're just doing that for publicity. It was like, honestly, they didn't have to say anything at all.
Yeah.
The fact that they even, like, taking a step for a broader cause means a lot,
Yeah, so sometimes you just got to just take the win however you can take the win.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? If we sit here and go into details of every act in this country that was dealt with shady or by the kindness of their heart, well then, bro, you trust me, you do not want to know.
Podcast, man.
Yeah, it's a long podcast. I'm saying so. Sometimes you just gotta take it. So yeah, that just made me throw ill on the tender for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand necessarily what the problem is, but other than they are the number one gaming company because they were first. Sony and Microsoft, they didn't come to the 90s. And at first, Nintendo was by itself before Sega came. And Sega was the, popular thing. And of course, you have the Atari shit like that. But right. Nintendo's the one that changed the game.
Yeah. Nintendo actually built the PlayStation originally.
Yeah, see, so they are the ones that changed the game. So they feel as though that they have the best ideas. They're the ones who jump ahead and game first. And in a lot of things you can look at and say, yeah, that is true. Right. But when somebody outthinks them or beats them to an idea, well, then yeah, they want to do it, find a way to do it themselves. So don't be surprised if next year, if we see some special tribute, I put my quotations up, thing Joy-Cons, and trust me, they're not going to be etiquette kind. But it's like this. I seen the ones that the guy was trying to sell. They're black and white, correct?
Right.
Yeah. If Nintendo comes out with black and white Joy-Cons next year to go to a special cause, quotations up again, I'll be like, see, that's the bullshit I'm talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because, I mean, I understand it's like you have a patent on your products, but you literally shut it down for a good cause. Like, I mean, Sony did it with the PS5. Somebody was making custom PS5 plates. So you can put on your, like, because the plates are removable. And you can customize them any way you want. You can put them on the side. And it was like a whole company that started that. Sony shut it down because they have a patent on it. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. But this is literally for, helping spread awareness for something bigger than games.
You're right. It is something spread awareness, but then once again, if it comes to the business aspect of it, that's one thing. Like it's hard to argue because it's like this. Even we could be upset, but we can't win a court of law.
Right? Yeah, we can't. We can't.
So, it's just, unfortunately, I hate using this term. It is what it is for this one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I do not like that using that thing, but that's truly what it is.
Right.